Call to order this Finance Committee. It is Tuesday, November 15th. We have a quorum present. Oh, I don't see Ben on there yet, but
You want me to run the screen, Dave? You can give me permission to
a
share.
little bit.
Oh, sure. Thanks for the reminder.
Sure.
And I don't think we've got anybody in here for public comment. So, any communications? I see we've got the share ride services proposals have been received.
One.
Okay.
And the
That's all we need.
closeout was today. The one proposal is from our current vendor. So I'm assuming it's going to be pretty easy to rank all the proposals.
Does make it easy to review, so,
Yes.
yep, when you only
But
get
there's
one.
an actual form we have to do, so I'll get it out to whichever members were assigned for it, and we'll go from there.
All right. Right, any other communications? Anybody? You have a good time down under, Dave?
Yep, except my wife got sick for a couple days, so I just hung out there, watched TV, did laundry, so.
All right. Did the wash machine spin in the opposite direction?
Actually, these ones spun one way for like 10 seconds, stopped, spun the other way for 10 seconds, so.
I do think toilets. That was it.
They do run, yeah,
That was
yeah,
theirs.
they do that, and just so they get used to it, that opposite Coriolis effect.
Could be.
Science lesson.
Yep. All right, if no other communications, then, we can go into our spate of reports from October.
I got a chance to review all the reports today. The only one that I saw, the cash summary by fund, the EMS trust fund had a negative cash balance because something got posted to the wrong fund. I corrected that today. So other than that, I didn't see anything to really highlight. The budget amendment report has been much smaller than in the past because I think I'm done with a lot of the cleanup. So
Yep.
that's the kind of report that you're going to see in the future. So then, I'm anticipating in the future, if I have something, I can just write a quick explanation down.
Right.
Other than that, I didn't see anything to highlight, so if anybody has any questions, please let me know.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I had questions about items that have probably always been there, and maybe you've explained it before, but under the cash summary, there's a couple, the Senior Center Special Fund and Fire Department Special Fund. Where do the funds come from?
So the cash summary report you're looking at?
Yeah, and I don't have to know that tonight, actually. It's just stuff when I was looking at it today that I
Well, it's
realized. I
what?
don't know what those,
Well,
Fund
the Senior
232.
Center Special Fund, they've got it for various donations. The largest portion of that is the $200,000 for remodeling of the annex.
yeah, I saw it was a pretty hefty one. And then the Fire Department Special Fund.
Well, the Fire Department Special Fund should be zeroed out.
Oh, maybe it was.
No, I guess I'm gonna have to look at that one. I don't remember that one off the top of my head, what that is for. No, I don't think so. There's 47.6.
Okay.
I'll have to look that one up and get back to you. I don't know that one off the top of my head.
And then another question, looks like, reading it right, there's still money in an affordable housing fund, 300 and some,
About 253, if I remember correctly. Correct. I had asked the Housing Authority if they wanted to request another 250 for remodeling. They never got back to me, so nothing's been added to the budget for it.
so we actually do still have that.
Yeah, what we did is we extended the life of the TIF the 1 year,
Right,
and then we put that extra increment into the fund, and then we used about half of it to upgrade, I think, was it 4 units? At
4 units
Greenspire?
for about 257,000 from memory.
Yeah, and I think the rest we had kind of earmarked for a first-time home buyer down payment assistance revolving loan fund. And we haven't really implemented that program. But we could revisit that. I know there is a presentation on that somewhere in our files. We can take a look at that. And if that's something you guys want to do.
I didn't realize there was that much money in it. That's why it caught my eye, since we've been talking so much about the lack of affordable housing. That one jumped out because it was more than I thought. So maybe a future.
Right, yeah, we put 500,000, it was either from TIF 3 or TIF 4, I don't remember which. And so we used 250,000 in current year, but yeah, basically half is remaining plus interest earnings.
I thought my understanding on that one was that it was gonna get eaten up mostly in the remodel type things, and there was gonna be a little bit left over on the first-time home buyer, but I think if that chunk is still in there, I mean, with interest rates gone the way that they have, I think that would be an attractive program for people.
That's all I had. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I did wonder about the EMS one too, but I was like, I didn't want to ask anything because I know that one lags behind a little bit. And
Yeah, and that one's just a matter of, I've got to go into the payroll system and correct the one employee whose time card is still set to go to the old account.
I see. Okay. Yeah, no worries, but
I just got to figure out how to do that.
magic wands.
But other than that, any other questions?
Yep. Anybody else at all? All right. We'll move on from the report and into the amending the 22 adopted budget for Emergency Operations Center. We'll see this one also later at council.
This one, you've got a resolution in there. It was originally proposed by Chief Jenks, and the Public Safety Committee has also endorsed it, but they want to use the $10,000 that was put into the 22 budget for Tomar preemption devices, use that for the Emergency Operations Center remodeling. And I'm going to turn it over to Chief Jenks if you have any additional questions or if you want to add more detail.
Yeah, well, we recognize that we did not have the facility set up to really host unified command, and that's kind of what got my attention. And working through some questions about where to actually have it, we settled in over on the west side of this building in our grate area. We're looking at adding outlets and all the equipment listed here. It seems like a good move. I guess going back to the Tomar preemption, it's something that was also slated for the 23 budget, which we removed earlier in the budget process, recognizing that the preemption devices currently available do not really work very well with our traffic lights or our squads. We have none on our squads, and I feel that they're just not very useful. And I feel that using that money to equip an emergency operations center would be far more beneficial.
Go ahead, Greg. You got a question for him?
What that is? Oh, Tomar preemption. So the Tomar preemption is a instrument that emits a signal from the front of a vehicle that will attempt to sway the traffic lights in your favor. So if you're approaching a red light and you activate the preemption, ideally, but the light would then turn green. So the idea is you would be able to get through the downtown area faster. It's really meant more for larger vehicles, heavier vehicles that have a hard time accelerating. The fire department engines are an example of that. They are fitted with it. There is also talk of the new lights coming in and probably a new system set up in the future. So I don't feel they're really worth the expense. Our squads accelerate quickly, and when we drive through an intersection, we do so with due regard. We slow down. We basically, in a squad, would outrun the traffic lights in the few blocks where it would be come into play. We did have them in the early 2000s, mid-2000s, and found them to be ineffective. Until the technology really changes, I still feel they're just would be a waste of money, and we'd be far better off allocating it for this unified command center.
And I see, like with the plan that you submitted in there, that it's a lot of screens and some computer hardware and that behind it. What do you feel that is going to bring to? How is that going to really enhance what you have currently?
Well, currently we really do not have any type of screens or communications set up.
Sure.
Going back in time, there was a EOC set up in this very room, and it was shortly after 9/11 where that came into play. We, as far as I know, never really activated it. At some point, it was decided to move it over into our grate area. And by moving it, I mean we have the manuals, and that's about it. So we have no electronic. If we were to have a large-scale event, all those screens and our area would allow us to host a unified command center, which would include departments from without the city and possibly private entities as well.
Okay.
And we've talked through some examples of like a storm damage, or using it for a planned event such as the Sit in My Parade, where we'd have one spot to answer all the questions, where we could all meet together and actually operate under emergency operations guidelines.
Okay.
Not only would the center serve for that purpose, we could also use it for training and briefing, etc., our Citizens Academy. With that many screens, I'm sure we could use our imagination a little bit and probably even get more use out of those.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any questions on this one? All right. If none, I would entertain a motion to recommend to council.
I'll make that motion.
All right. Motion by Greg. Is there a second? Second by Lisa. Any other questions, comments? All right. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And are any opposed to it? All right. We will recommend that one up to council tonight.
Thank you. You want to take that, Brett, when it comes up? Yeah, because it came through both of our committees. You want to take it?
That's fine. I mean, we got the last stamp on it, so
Okay.
I'll go ahead. Yep. All right, next item up is also similar for seeing at council again tonight. The resolution to amend 2023 proposed budget for capital improvement plan for public works. Assuming, or Dave, you're going to do this one, or Brett?
Tim, I've got my screen
Okay.
sharing.
That's fine.
And Brett, feel free to chime in wherever you want. The resolution that's in the packet for both finance and council has been superseded already, so for those physically present, it's the resolution on legal size yellow paper. We've gotten information recently that the price for 3 vehicles has gone up and the tractor has gone down, so the proposal is to add $16,050 for additional bonding. Brett, do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, so basically all this is the state contract pricing. So as the state contract pricing comes in, we get updated pricing. So we did not get that updated pricing until basically last week when we had our window to submit for the orders. So when we put the budget together, we worked with the dealership and take our best guess to put these numbers together. But at that time, like in the spring, they don't know. So obviously, ordering trucks is very volatile, and other pieces of equipment is somewhat volatile when it comes to pricing. And so this is just what you're seeing is the updated pricing, which is the state contract pricing, which is locked in.
All right, does anybody have any questions on that one? We're just calculating what this percent change was.
And I just want to add to that, this also includes not just the truck, but this is also the body that we add to the truck. And to save costs for these builds, we're actually going to do the mounting of the bed to the chassis in-house. We have the capability to do that with our staff and our facility. So we're saving roughly $15,000 per truck to do that. To put that in perspective, it used to cost us around $15,000 to put a body on a truck. The latest quote we got was $35,000. So to save that cost, we're going to do that in-house. That's going to be a little bit more, about $20,000 for the parts and components, but saving about $15,000 per just by doing it in-house. We're just looking at every avenue to save on costs for these builds. It's getting a little crazy up there, to be honest. So we're just trying to save every dollar we can.
And Brett Schumacher, I just noticed the third paragraph, the last whereas, where it says the increase of 15550 should be 16050.
I just like, as you were just saying that, I'm like, wait a minute, yep, no worries on that one. Then that,
Sorry.
go ahead, Brett.
The reason, excuse me, the tractor came down is because that actually came off of lease. So they actually credited us some dollars on that for that cost. So that's why that one came down.
Okay. I mean, we appreciate all you guys are doing to save the money into these vehicles. I mean, we know they get a lot of use, they get a lot of work. But it's pretty eye-popping to see a 15% change in only 6 months-ish. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
and those numbers could have changed over the past year, but that's just the pricing that they had from last year's state contract. So over time, it's probably a year's time that it's really changed.
Sure,
But
sure.
It's just for all of our, commodities have all gone up, all of our rolling stock, obviously. So we're actually looking at keeping our vehicles longer. But the two vehicles being replaced are, I believe, 19 and 20 years old. So we're doing everything we can to keep them longer, building them to withstand the loads that they need to withstand. Also, the components that we put on the trucks, versus, stainless steel, is going to last a lot longer. So we are building them better to last longer.
Buy the good duct tape, not the red-green stuff.
I agree with that.
All right, anybody have any other questions on this request? If none, I would entertain a motion to recommend this to council. All right, motion by Greg,
Second.
second by Lisa. Anybody have any other questions, comments on this one? All right, hearing none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
And are any opposed? All right, we'll recommend that one up to council tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and let's see.
Tim, I've stopped sharing.
Okay.
See, we have future agenda items before a closed session, so I guess, it really doesn't matter. We can highlight the future agenda items.
That's kind of what I thought, so
Sure.
that when we kick anybody out, they're not missing
Yep,
that section of the agenda.
Very true, yep. So we've got financials coming up toward the end of the year here. We've still got the special assessments discussion on there that we will take up at some point. Fund balance policy also, and amendment for the TID 6. The room tax ordinance, with the penalties and interest with what we've gone through over this year, so we'll relook at those. And some of the policies with CIP and debt management. And does anybody else have anything they would like to add into it, or see that we discuss? All right, if nothing else, then I would entertain a motion to move into a closed session to discuss police union contract negotiations.
I would move to go into closed session per state statute 19.85, parent 1, parent E, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Common Council may reconvene in an open session to discuss and take action on the subject matter discussed in the closed session. So moved.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Second by Greg. Any questions about that?
Would be,
All right, it's a roll vote. So Lisa,
Aye.
Greg,
yep.
Dave,
Aye.
Ben,
Aye.
and I think that is all. Mayor, you
Aye.
count too. Yep, okay.
Brett?
Me too. Aye. And are any opposed to it? All right, no unanimous.